Struggling, single mom saw her first love at an airport, not knowing he was now a millionaire CEO, and still lonely. The morning rush at the small airport cafe had barely begun when Olivia Harper tied her apron and took a deep breath. Her feet already ached from the early shift, and her hands were rough from constant scrubbing of coffee machines and dishes. She glanced at the clock, 7:42 a.m., and wiped her brow with the back of her hand. She moved behind the counter, the scent of fresh coffee swirling around her like a familiar lullaby. Olivia, now 28, had worked this job for nearly 3 years. It was not glamorous, but it put food on the table and paid rent for the modest apartment she shared with her 5-year-old son, Jamie. He was her light, her reason to keep going. "Large cappuccino, no sugar," a voice called out. Olivia smiled, already halfway through making it. She had memorized the regulars, but as she handed the cup over and looked up, her breath caught. Across the terminal, near Gate 18, a man sat alone with a laptop and a black leather duffel bag at his feet. She froze. Her heart skipped a beat, then raced. Lucas Bennett. Her first love. He was staring at his screen, fingers paused mid-typing. His hair was neatly styled, suit crisp, presence commanding, but she would have recognized him anywhere, even after a decade. He had been the boy who made her laugh on rainy days, who read poetry in a terrible British accent, who once stayed up all night just to walk her home. Lucas had been the entire sky of her youth. Olivia's instinct was to look away. Her hand shot up to tuck a stray strand behind her ear, only to remember her hair was in a messy bun. Her uniform was wrinkled from the morning rush, faint coffee stains on the hem of her apron. She looked down at her worn sneakers. Maybe if she kept her distance, he would not recognize her. 10 years had passed. People change. She surely had. She turned quickly, pretending to clean the counter, heart thudding. What would he think if he saw her like this? A single mom, barely scraping by in a faded uniform. But fate had other plans. An elderly man near the boarding area dropped his canvas tote bag. Its contents, magazines, a pill bottle, snacks, scattered across the floor. Olivia didn't hesitate. She rushed over and knelt beside him. "Here, let me help you," she said gently, gathering the items and slipping them back into the bag. And that was the moment. As she looked up to hand the man his things, her eyes met Lucas's. Time froze. Lucas blinked. His hands dropped from the keyboard. The terminal noise faded as his gaze locked on hers. That face, those eyes. He would never forget them. For 10 years he had carried that image. The eyes that lit up when she spoke of dreams, the quiet strength they held when life got hard. And here they were again, still familiar, now heavier. "Olivia?" he whispered, barely audible. But she was already standing, heart pounding, avoiding his gaze. She nodded to the old man and turned away, walking briskly back toward the cafe, hands trembling. Behind her, Lucas remained frozen, the laptop forgotten. He remembered it all. The summer nights on campus, the tears, the laughter, the dreams they built together. She had been his anchor when he nearly flunked freshman year. His parents never approved of her, said she lacked ambition, came from the wrong kind of family. He had fought them, but when the scholarship to study overseas came, he had no choice. He left. No goodbye, just gone. She waited. He never wrote. Eventually, she stopped hoping. That summer, Olivia cried until her chest ached. Then, little by little, she learned to live without him. And now, 10 years later, same airport, same city, different lives. And yet, in a single glance, everything they buried rushed back, unspoken, unfinished, undeniable. Lucas took a slow breath, then stepped toward the cafe. He found Olivia behind the counter, wiping down a tray, her expression tired but focused. She looked up and saw him. For a moment, neither of them said a word. "Hi," he said gently. Olivia nodded. "Hi. I was hoping we could talk, if you have a minute." She glanced around. "I'm on break in 10. They sat at a small table near the window, away from the noise of travelers rushing past. The tension between them was clear, but there was something softer beneath it. A quiet familiarity. A shared history that neither had forgotten. "It's really been 10 years, Lucas said. "It has," Olivia replied, her voice low. He studied her face. She looked older, worn in ways that spoke of struggle, but stronger too. Like someone who had endured more than most and kept standing. "So, how have you been?" he asked. Olivia hesitated, then took a sip of her lukewarm coffee. "I have a son, Jamie. He's 5. It's just the two of us." Lucas blinked. "You're a mom?" She nodded. "Yeah, I work here in the mornings, clean offices at night. It's not easy, but we manage." There was no resentment in her voice, only quiet acceptance. She didn't mention Jamie's father, and Lucas didn't press. "I'm not surprised you're still standing," he said. "You were always the strongest person I knew." She looked down, unsure how to take the compliment. Lucas wanted to ask more, but something stopped him. Instead, he noticed her attention shift when an older man near the terminal stumbled, dropping a plastic bag. Olivia stood up quickly, walked over, and knelt to help him. She handed him the items with a kind smile, then opened her lunch container and gave him half of her sandwich. Lucas watched from the window. From the way she tucked her meal away afterward, he guessed it might have been all she had. When she returned, he said nothing, but something in him shifted. "You haven't changed," he said. "You still think of others before yourself." "I don't know how else to be," she replied with a small smile. A few minutes later, Lucas checked his phone. His flight was boarding. "I have to go," he said, standing reluctantly. "Of course," Olivia said, her voice calm. He paused. "Can I give you my card? Just in case." She nodded and took it without a word. As he walked away, he turned once more. She was already behind the counter again, tying her apron, fading back into the background. But she didn't fade from his mind. Days passed. Olivia returned to her routine. Work, Jamie, sleep, repeat. Then came a knock on the door. Her landlord stood with a scowl. "You're behind again. I can't wait any longer. You need to be out by tomorrow." "Please," Olivia begged. "I just need a few more days." He shook his head. "I've given you too many chances." When the door slammed shut, Olivia leaned against it, tears welling in her eyes. She looked over at Jamie, playing quietly with his worn coloring book. That night, she sat at the edge of their small bed, trying to stay strong. Then her phone buzzed. "Lucas Bennett. I've been thinking about you and Jamie. I know it's sudden, but are you okay?" She stared at the message for a long time, unsure how to respond. The next morning, Olivia and Jamie stood on the sidewalk with a single suitcase and his stuffed rabbit. Her heart felt heavy, but she had no choice. A black SUV pulled up. The window rolled down, and Lucas stepped out. He saw the bags, Jamie clutching her hand, the quiet panic in her eyes. "Come stay with me," he said. "Just for a few days, until you figure things out. I'm not offering charity, just help, from a friend." Olivia looked at Jamie, then at the sidewalk beneath her feet. Her pride wavered, but her son came first. She nodded slowly. "Just for a few days," she whispered. Lucas smiled. "That's all I ask." And together, they got into the car, not knowing what would come next, only that they didn't have to face it alone. The first morning at Lucas's house was quiet, almost too quiet for Olivia. She had barely slept the night before, too tense in the guest room with Jamie curled beside her. The house was beautiful, modern yet warm, with sunlight pouring in through tall windows. It felt like another world. She kept waiting for someone to tell her they didn't belong. But by 6 a.m., Olivia was in the kitchen, sleeves rolled, quietly making scrambled eggs and toast. She moved carefully, trying not to wake anyone, but still making enough for 3. Old habits, she supposed. Lucas came down the stairs a bit later, surprised to find her already cooking. "I hope you don't mind," she said quickly, brushing flour from her hands. "Jamie's used to breakfast first thing." "I don't mind at all," he replied, smiling. Smells better than anything I've made in weeks." As the days passed, Lucas watched the rhythms of Olivia's life unfold in his home. She rose early, packed snacks for Jamie, did laundry with music playing softly in the background, and read bedtime stories with voices and sound effects that made Jamie giggle uncontrollably. He noticed how she taught Jamie to write his name with such patience, how she praised his drawings as if they were museum-worthy, how, when she thought no one was looking, she closed her eyes for just a second longer, exhausted but holding everything together. Jamie, meanwhile, had taken a strong liking to Lucas. He followed him around the house, peppering him with questions. "Do you really have 100 people working for you? What's a CEO? Can I be one if I still sleep with my dinosaur?" Lucas answered every question like it was the most important one in the world. To Olivia's surprise, Lucas did not just let them stay, he quietly made their stay easier. One afternoon, she returned from a walk with Jamie to find the guest room rearranged. A small shelf now held children's books. A soft lamp glowed in the corner. In the kitchen, there was almond milk for Jamie and vegetarian dishes Olivia hadn't even mentioned she liked. She stared at the new additions, speechless. He never brought it up. He just did it. One evening, as the autumn wind picked up outside, Jamie grew quiet during dinner. His cheeks were flushed, and Olivia immediately knew something was wrong. By midnight, he was burning with fever. Olivia panicked. She paced the hallway, wet cloths pressed to Jamie's forehead, whispering soothing words through trembling lips. Lucas was there in an instant. He sat beside her on the bed, checking Jamie's temperature, calling the family doctor, reassuring her with quiet confidence. "It's going to be okay," he said. "We'll take care of him together." Together. That word wrapped around her like a blanket. All night, they took turns changing the cloths, keeping Jamie hydrated, whispering stories to calm him. Olivia's heart pounded with fear, but Lucas never left her side. By dawn, Jamie's fever finally broke. The little boy drifted into a deep sleep, chest rising and falling peacefully. Olivia sat beside the bed, hair messy, eyes swollen from worry. Her hands were still holding a damp cloth when she turned to Lucas. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice raw, "for being here when I was scared the most." Lucas looked at her, and something shifted in his chest. It was not just gratitude in her voice. It was trust, and in her eyes, he saw the Olivia he had once loved, only now stronger, fiercer, weathered by life but unbroken. He realized then that it had never really faded. Not the way she made him feel, not the way she saw the world, and especially not the way she held her child with every ounce of love she had. He had left once, but now, sitting in the quiet of the early morning light, he knew. He did not want to leave again. The weekend brought a softness to the air, the kind that made everything feel lighter. Lucas suggested a small picnic, something simple and outdoors. Olivia hesitated at first, unsure if it was too much or too soon, but Jamie's eyes lit up at the idea, and that was all the convincing she needed. They drove out to a quiet park beyond the city. The leaves had begun to turn, fluttering gently from the trees as if nature itself was slowing down to take a breath. Lucas laid out a blanket while Olivia unpacked sandwiches, fruit, and cookies Jamie had picked out. Jamie ran ahead, chasing leaves and pretending he was a superhero. Olivia sat at the edge of the blanket, her legs crossed, her hair blowing gently in the wind. Lucas sat beside her, close but not too close. There was a calm between them that felt earned, fragile yet natural. After they ate, Jamie pulled something from his little backpack. It was a folded piece of paper with crayon marks peeking out the sides. "I made this," he said, holding it out to Lucas with pride. Lucas took it carefully and opened it. The drawing was simple: 3 stick figures under a bright yellow sundae, one tall, one with long hair, and one small, all holding hands. Above them were the words, written in blocky letters, "Mommy, me, and my CEO dad." Lucas looked up, surprised. Olivia's cheeks flushed. She reached out quickly, taking the paper back with a small smile. "He just likes the idea of you being important," she said. "You know how kids are." Lucas chuckled, but noticed how she folded the drawing slowly and slipped it into her bag instead of tossing it away. That evening, after Jamie was asleep, Lucas found Olivia at the kitchen table. The room was dim except for the light above the stove. Her fingers curled around a mug of tea, her gaze far away. He sat across from her. "I've been thinking," he said quietly. "You have experience, Olivia. You're smart, organized. I think you'd be great at the company. I could find something flexible, part-time maybe." She didn't answer right away. Then she looked at him with a sad smile. "I appreciate it, Lucas, but I can't." "Why not?" "Because it wouldn't feel like a real job. It would feel like a debt, like something I didn't earn." He leaned back, surprised. "It's not charity, it's because I believe in you. And that's exactly why I can't take it," she said. "I need to stand on my own, even if it's harder." He respected her answer, though it left a strange ache in his chest. Later that night, Lucas returned to the kitchen. Olivia was still there, staring out the window, lost in thought. "I need to say something," he said. She turned to him slowly. "I've had relationships over the years, some that lasted, some that didn't, but none of them ever felt real, not like it did with you. Since the day you left, I haven't truly loved anyone else. Not like I loved you." Her breath caught. Tears welled in her eyes, but didn't fall. "You don't have to say anything," he added. But she did. "Lucas," she said softly, "I'm not that girl anymore. The one who laughed easily and dreamed big. I'm tired. I'm a mother. I've made mistakes. I've been left, lied to, broken." He moved to respond, but she shook her head. "It scares me, Lucas, because when I look at you, it feels safe again, and I don't know if I can trust that. I don't know if I can trust myself." She stood, cup in hand, and walked quietly down the hallway toward the guest room. Lucas remained at the table, the air thick with everything unsaid. He had opened his heart. She had opened her wounds. And somewhere in the middle of all that, something real had begun to stir. In the weeks that followed, a quiet rhythm began to form inside Lucas's home. He never pushed, never demanded anything from Olivia. He simply showed up. Whether it was helping Jamie with his reading, making Olivia tea when she looked tired, or giving them space when they needed it, Lucas was there, steady, present. Olivia found herself smiling more, laughing even. At first, it felt foreign, like trying on someone else's clothes. But each passing day made it feel like her own again. She cooked meals with Lucas. They took Jamie to the library and the park. Lucas let Jamie wear one of his ties to look like a real CEO, and Olivia had to hold back tears watching her son beam with pride. They were not perfect, but something about it felt real. Olivia, who had lived in survival mode for so long, began to breathe, to trust, to hope. One crisp afternoon, she stood in the backyard hanging Jamie's tiny clothes on a line Lucas had installed just for her. The breeze danced through her hair, and for the first time in years, she allowed herself to picture a future that was not gray and full of fear. She went inside to check on Jamie, who was building a fort in the living room with Lucas. The laughter echoing through the house made her heart swell. Just as she reached for her phone to take a photo, the doorbell rang. She opened the front door, still smiling, and froze. Standing there, holding a wrinkled baseball cap in his hands, was Derek. Her breath left her body. He looked thinner than she remembered, older, worn, but the eyes were the same, cold, calculating, far too familiar. "Hi, Liv," he said, voice low. Her fingers tightened around the doorframe. "What are you doing here?" she asked, trying to stay calm. "I've been thinking about you, about the boy," he said, glancing past her shoulder. "I know I made mistakes, but I've changed. I've got a job. I want to see my son." She shook her head slowly, disoriented. "You don't get to show up and ask to play father." "I'm not here to fight," he replied. "I just want a chance. Please, Olivia, let me meet him. I deserve that much." Behind her, Lucas's voice floated from the hallway, calling Jamie to wash his hands for dinner. Olivia stepped outside and closed the door behind her. "He doesn't know you exist," she said, voice trembling. "He doesn't need to." "He has a right to know who I am," Derek snapped. "I'm his father." "You were never there. Not once. I raised him alone. I protected him." Derek's tone softened again, trying to manipulate her like he used to. "I just want to do the right thing now, that's all." She stared at him. Her mind raced. Jamie, Lucas, this fragile piece she had found. All of it could shatter in an instant. If Lucas sees you, if Jamie sees you. "They don't have to," Derek interrupted. "We can talk, just you and me. Think about it, Olivia." He turned and walked away, disappearing down the quiet street. She stood frozen on the porch long after he was gone. Inside, laughter continued. Jamie was giggling. Lucas was pretending to be a clumsy pirate, but Olivia could not smile, because just when she had begun to believe in light again, the darkness she thought she had escaped had returned. And now, it knew exactly where to find her. Olivia tried to ignore the sick feeling in her stomach for days after Derek showed up. She told herself he would disappear again, like he always had. She had seen that face before, full of promises and empty remorse. He was not here for Jamie. He was here for something else. She could feel it. Then the first message arrived. It came late at night. She was in the laundry room folding clothes when her phone buzzed. "You owe me a second chance. If you don't want to lose your son, bring me 100 grand. Fast." Her fingers went cold. Her breath hitched. Another message followed. "Get it from your rich friend, the CEO. He won't even notice it's gone." Olivia stared at the screen, heart pounding, her vision blurred. She deleted the messages, but they kept coming. Every day. More aggressive, more detailed. "You think you can hide behind him? I'll take you to court. I'll say you kept my son from me. They'll believe me. You have a soft life now. Let's see how long it lasts." She tried to stay calm around Jamie and Lucas, pretending everything was normal, but inside, she was unraveling. Every time her phone lit up, her stomach twisted. She slept less, ate less. Lucas began to notice. He asked if she was okay. She smiled and said she was just tired. She wanted to tell him. So many times, she opened her mouth, but the words stayed stuck in her throat. How could she explain that the past she never wanted to revisit had come crawling back with claws and threats? How could she put that burden on the one person who had given her peace? She feared two things. One, that Lucas would get hurt. Two, that she would lose Jamie. She had worked so hard to build a life, even if it was held together with threads. She had raised Jamie alone, loved him enough for two parents. And now, someone like Derek could just show up and take it all away? She met Derek once, alone, at a diner on the edge of town. He wore a smirk like he had already won. "You think that man will still want you if he finds out about me?" he said, leaning in close. "If he finds out how fast you ran when things got hard?" Olivia kept her voice low. "I'm not giving you anything. You left. You don't get to walk back in and ask for money." Derek's smile faded. His tone turned cold. "You'll regret this. You think you can hide in that fancy house forever? If I don't get what I want, I'll make sure the courts see what kind of mother you are. No job, unstable housing history. Let's see how long you keep custody." That night, Olivia stood by Jamie's bed, brushing his hair back as he slept. Snow had started falling outside. The wind howled like it knew what was coming. She sat at the kitchen table long after everyone had gone to bed, a pen in her hand, a piece of paper before her. She wrote slowly. Tears fell as she crossed out sentences and rewrote them. "Lucas, I'm sorry. Please don't come looking for us. I had to leave. It's the only way to keep Jamie safe. Thank you for everything. You gave us more than you know. Olivia." She folded the note, placed it on the counter, then quietly packed a small bag. One change of clothes, Jamie's worn stuffed rabbit, a snack, nothing more. She lifted Jamie from his bed, wrapped him in a blanket, and pressed a kiss to his forehead. In the dead of night, with snow falling heavy and silent, Olivia walked out of Lucas's house, carrying everything that mattered in her arms. No goodbye, no explanation. Only fear, and a mother's desperate hope to protect the one she loved most. Lucas woke to an unnatural stillness. It was not the peaceful kind, but the kind that made his chest tighten. He looked at the clock. 4:13 a.m. Snow whispered against the windows, and the whole world outside seemed wrapped in white silence. He stepped into the hallway. Jamie's door was open. The guest room was empty. His heart dropped. The bed was made, too neat. The bag Olivia always kept by the dresser was gone. So was Jamie's favorite stuffed rabbit. The air felt hollow. Then he saw it. A folded piece of paper on the kitchen counter, shaking slightly from the breeze through the cracked window. He opened it, his hands already trembling. "Lucas, I had to go. Please don't come looking for us. It's not safe for Jamie here anymore. You gave us more than I ever thought we deserved. Thank you for letting me believe in something good again. Olivia." Lucas stood frozen, the paper fluttering in his hand. Then he grabbed his keys and ran. Snow was falling harder now, thick flakes blinding his windshield. The roads were slick and quiet. Most of the city still slept, but he was wide awake, fueled by panic and something deeper. Love. He called her phone. Straight to voicemail, again and again. He tried the nearby shelters. Nothing. The 24-hour diners. Nothing. By sunrise, he had been to 3 bus stations and 2 train depots. His knuckles were red from gripping the steering wheel. His eyes burned. At the last station on the edge of town, he rushed inside, heart pounding, and there she was. Olivia sat curled on a bench near the far wall, clutching Jamie tightly against her chest. Her coat was thin, her cheeks pale. Jamie's head rested against her shoulder, his small body wrapped in a worn blanket. Lucas stood still for a moment, just staring at them. Then he walked over and dropped to his knees in front of her. She looked up. Her face crumpled. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't know what else to do. He threatened to take Jamie. He wanted money. I couldn't drag you into it." Lucas reached out, gently placing his hand over hers. "You were never dragging me," he said, voice thick with emotion. "I want to be in this. All of it. You, Jamie, the past, the mess. I don't care." Tears slipped down Olivia's cheeks. "I was so scared," she said. "I thought if Derek found out about us living with you, he'd ruin everything. I thought if I stayed, I'd end up losing Jamie, or you." Lucas shook his head. "No one is taking Jamie, and no one is taking you from me either." She opened her mouth to protest, but he leaned closer. "I love you," he said simply. "I love your strength. I love the way you care. I love the way you look at Jamie like he's the whole world. I love him too." Her breath hitched. "You don't have to protect us alone anymore," he whispered. He pulled her and Jamie into his arms. For a long time they said nothing, just held each other while snow fell gently against the windows behind them. Later that morning, Lucas made a call. By noon, a lawyer sat with him in his office, reviewing every message Derek had sent. The threats, the demands, the history. Lucas filed for legal action against Derek, pressing charges for blackmail and harassment. He hired a family lawyer to ensure full protection for Jamie. The battle ahead would not be easy, but Olivia was not alone anymore. For the first time in years, she felt like someone was standing between her and the storm. That night, as Jamie slept safely in a warm bed, Olivia sat beside Lucas on the couch. She leaned her head on his shoulder, eyes closed. "Thank you," she said softly. He turned to her, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "You don't ever have to thank me for loving you." She looked at him, eyes full of both relief and disbelief. "I'm still scared," she admitted. "So am I," he replied. "But I'm not going anywhere, and I won't let anyone hurt you again." She nodded, tears sliding silently down her cheeks. This time, she believed him. 1 year later, the garden behind Lucas's home had never looked more beautiful. Soft white flowers lined the aisle. Fairy lights swayed from the trees. Close friends and a few family members sat in quiet anticipation, their chairs arranged beneath the golden afternoon sundae. A gentle melody played from a string quartet in the corner. Then, all eyes turned. At the top of the aisle stood Jamie, dressed in a little gray suit, holding Olivia's hand. In the other, he clutched a bouquet of white peonies, carefully arranged just the way Olivia loved them. "Ready, Mommy?" Jamie whispered, beaming with pride. Olivia smiled through tears, more than ever. Together, they walked down the aisle. Smiles filled the garden, but Olivia saw only one face: Lucas. He stood beneath a floral arch in a navy blue suit, his eyes soft and steady. When he saw her, he let out a quiet breath, like he had been waiting to exhale for a whole year. At the end of the aisle, Jamie looked up and grinned. "Here she is, Dad." Lucas knelt down, eyes glassy. "Thank you, Jamie. That means everything." The ceremony was short, intimate, and full of love. When it came time for vows, Olivia took Lucas's hands in hers. Her voice trembled, then steadied. "Thank you for loving me, even when I didn't love myself, for seeing something in me I thought was gone, for choosing not just the best parts of me, but the broken ones too." Lucas's voice was firm but full of warmth. "I don't just choose you, Olivia. I choose the nights you got up when it was hard. I choose every moment that brought you here. I choose Jamie. I choose our family. Today, tomorrow, always." When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, the garden erupted in applause. Jamie jumped up and wrapped his arms around them. "Group hug," he giggled, and everyone laughed. That evening, as the sun dipped below the trees and the last guests departed, Olivia stood barefoot in the grass, watching the lights twinkle overhead. Lucas came up behind her and wrapped his arms around her waist. "This doesn't feel real," she whispered. "It is," he murmured, "and it's just the beginning." He reached out his hand. "Come on, let's go home." Jamie stood waiting on the front porch, holding both their hands as they approached the steps of the house they now shared. Their home, their sanctuary. Together, they walked toward the open door, hand in hand. The past behind them, a new chapter ahead. As they stepped into the doorway, the light spilled across the floor, warm and golden, lighting the way forward. Not perfect, but full of love. And finally, whole. A story that began with heartbreak had ended with healing. From a crowded airport to a quiet garden, from fear to forever, Olivia, Lucas, and little Jamie found more than a home. They found a second chance at love, trust, and belonging. Because sometimes, life brings people back into your world not by accident, but by fate. And when it does, all you have to do is open the door. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe and hit that hype button to support soul-stirring stories, where every tale is crafted to heal your soul and remind you that love always finds a way. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.